Okay, welcome everybody to this evening's Forex Trading Webinar Series webinar. My name is Duncan Cooper. So tonight's webinar is live market analysis. I'll just give you a heads up what's coming up through the course of the week. So tonight is Forex Trading live market analysis, and then tomorrow I'm going to be reviewing the market from a monthly perspective, looking back over the last month. Where did all the trading patterns happen? Did you spot them? How could you have traded them? And look at hindsight trading. Can you use that as your foresight moving forward? And then coming up on Thursday, 8 p.m. Sydney time, more analysis. So that's what's coming up from me. So before we get into it, if you can all read through the disclaimer, that would be great. If you're on our YouTube live stream, I cannot see the chat, but I've given you a link there if you want to join us in the webinar, so you can chat to me, just follow the link. Other than that, everybody else, questions to the webinar chat or question and answer box there. I'll see both coming in. So please, everybody, just read through the disclaimer before we move along. All right, we'll move along now. If you don't know me, my name is Duncan Cooper. I'm a senior market strategist and trading mentor here at DXY Securities. And I'm a full-time Forex trader. I've been trading now for more than 15 years, mentoring for more than 10. If you want to contact me about the webinars, my email's there, duncan.cooper@acy.com. And through the week, you can connect with me at the website, acy.com, go to the Market News tab, or YouTube channel, ACY Securities Australia. And you can also connect with me on my personal Twitter and LinkedIn there if you want to follow me. Those are my handles. I'm putting some analysis through during the week. And as well, we have our Telegram channel. If you'd like to get access to that, contact Nathan.bray. His email is down the bottom of the screen, but I'll put it in the chat for you. So here it comes. As well, if you want to get access to my chartlets and templates for MT4, just contact Nathan. He will set you up. All right, so let's get into it. So we'll just have a look at the news for the week now. We've got lots of high impacted news items coming out for the week. It's going to be difficult to hold a position if you're not in a massively profitable position. So let's just go through what's happening. We have had the Bank of Japan monetary policy statement coming out today. Markets reacted to that quite strongly in terms of dollar yen moving up. So in terms of the yen currency is getting weaker from the monetary policy statement today. All right, so pairs to the yen are moving up. Now, in terms of the red items, today we have Canada GDP, unemployment cost index from the US. And then on the midnight, we do have the US CV consumer confidence. These are my time, Queensland time, not New South Wales time. Tomorrow from New Zealand, we've got unemployment figures, employment change figures, 7:45 a.m. my time. And the ADP non-farm change coming in tomorrow for the US. But the next big one coming in, there's really two big items to watch for, is the 4 o'clock one in the morning, federal funds rate. Not expecting a change there. We have the UK interest rate decision at 10 p.m. I did say 2, but that's 2. And then the third one down here is the US job figures. So a couple of central banks doing their thing this week, especially the US there. I'm not expecting a change there, but we'll obviously have to see what gets said in terms of they've been saying we're going to have high interest rates for a long period of time with the possibility of interest rates rising if needed. So we'll have to wait and see if any of that kind of verbiage changes or it's relatively consistent from last time. All right, so quite a number of high impacting news items coming out, as it might be quite difficult. You're going to have to dodge these items first of all and see how price lies after them. So I'm just going to do my analysis. You can work out how you're going to trade around these news items. So let's get to the charts. We'll start with the dollar index. All right, so two levels here on the dollar index. At the moment, and this was the same last week when I was doing Tuesday, we were negative on Tuesday. This is the weekly chart look. But by the end of the week, we finished positive. And we've been holding at or fractionally above 105.87. So that's a level to watch for support. And whilst we're selling off at the moment, we did move up to a higher top last week. You could also monitor a pullback within a fib range. And really, 105.87 support in the middle of the 62.79% levels. So seeing price come back to that level, holding and then turning around would mean that potentially then pairs to the US dollar are topping out to move back down with the dollar moving back up. All right, S&P 500 finished not quite on its low, but that's Friday's candle. And notably, get my drawing tool on here, show you on the weekly chart. We have a lower top to a further lower bottom, but we of the fib range that was from high to low, didn't quite retrace back to 62 level, but almost. We're down at the 127 extension. So in the current move cycle, we're getting into the profit taking phase. And if we were to move back above 41.98, that low, then we would have to start to measure the next rally based on the weekly chart. So at the moment, if this remains rather weak, what you could be doing on the lower time frame, if you drop down to the 4-hour chart, if you've got my chart layouts and templates, you could just be monitoring the range of last week, which is just there. Just going to get rid of that fib. And what you'll see is at the 62 level of last week's range is just fractionally above the level of support that I'm using from over here. But we could be using this one here. This one would work just as well. So I might actually put that one in 41.98 because it's just a little bit more recent. 41.98. .13. So, we could still have another week down this week, but we may retrace back inside the previous week. So on the 4-hour chart, the 62% level of last week does overlap with this level here. So 41.98, you could call it the 4200 level. That could be a very good level of resistance this week for the S&P 500 to further move down. So that would be a good level to watch if you want to trade the S&P 500. All right, let's get into the euro dollar now. It's moving up. At the moment, it's trying to move above this. This is a significant level here, 106.35. That's from the monthly chart. This low over here that through the course of the month we've been holding below. It's the same price point just in here on that minor low, but that's a much more major low. So we're a fractionally above at it's the last day of the month. So where will we finish by the end of today? So this isn't a downtrend on the weekly chart. So this is just corrective at the moment. All right. So we are higher tops, bottoms. We don't have a final higher high at the moment. We could be coming up to maybe form a lower top. See, last week when we got above 106.35, we got a heavy sell-off back down. So who's going to win the buy? Or the buyers or the sellers here at 106.35. That's the level to watch. All right. At the moment, we're a little bit overextended on the day. I think if you wanted to get long for the day, you should have gotten long by now because we're heading up towards, there's not that much to go now. There's only about 15 pips to my projected high for the day. So what I would be looking for is, what is the market going to do with this 106.35 level today? Is it going to start to sell off and move back below? And if I just move back to my day chart, and with that week, let's go back to the weekly chart. See, yes, last week's very negative candle Tried to get above 106.35 and then rejected. We're just trading back up inside the rejection candle. So I would be looking at the range of the rejection candle to see where the 79% level is. That's at 106.56. Now, if we get up there and start to hold, that could be a very good level to look for a trade down. From just where do we close today? If we close back below 106.35 today, then the market's really telling you that potentially we're holding at 106.35, and can you try and short it close to 106.35 this week? All right. So today, though, we're having a positive day. So I'm not getting too, we're almost up to the high of the day in terms of its maybe the complete range for the day. Not getting too excited about selling at the moment because this is too strong. But buying it up here at the top of the move, I don't think it's the best idea either. So just going to be monitoring to see what happens up there at the 79% level. You also have the red pivot up there and M4 106.58. So what happens up there today? Does it offer you a reversal? Get my chart to work. Does a reversal come up in this area? So it's approximately 106.56. That's the 79% fib. And do we maybe fail at 106.35 over the next 24 hours? Euro yen. Now, this is actually, we had a heavy sell-off last week. But with the Bank of Japan information coming out today, you can see we have had a very, very large candle. So at the moment, I'm just sitting on my hands and waiting to see how this candle finishes for the day. Or I could be watching to see how it wants to handle this 159.75 level. Do we start to hold and want to start to move back below that level intraday today? I was looking for the 79% level to come up to the 79% level here, maybe start to want to hold and fail, but clearly the price isn't wanting to do that. So I was discussing last week, were we forming a double top here? We could still hold here, but it is very strong at the moment on the back of the Bodge announcement today. So if you want to be aggressive, the last candle is getting support on 159.75, but this daily candle price action at the moment is very overextended. There's no way I want to be buying up here. So the only thing I could be doing is watching how does price through the course of the day now want to entertain itself at 159.75. That's the top over here. That's the August high. Do we start to get a false break? So you can monitor that. Now, if we keep screaming up north all day long, and we get a good distance above 159.75 today, then through the week, 159.75 could be support to trade up from. All right, but it's too early to tell if we're going to hold above this level today. So I'm just going to be watching it hour by hour. So if I dropped it to a 1 hour chart, I can just start to see if we start to get any failure. You could always as well watch last week's high. That's 159.913. See whether we fail at that level too. So we could false break last week's high, but at the moment we're trading above it. All right. All right, euro yen, with the euro outperforming, like on the euro yen and on the euro dollar moving up. It's outperforming the pound. And whilst we do have a downtrend here on the monthly chart, lower top, lower bottom. Trends through weekly and day charts are up. So this monthly level over here is at 87.22. There's another low there, 87.18. So if we're going to continue up, 87.22 now should be support on any form of pullback. All right, so trends here up in the daily. And you can see if you're monitoring the 4-hour chart, once we broke above up here, see where we got support. So we may not get back to 87.22, but we could. You just have to monitor price action. But really, we're in the high phase of the fib tool. You know, this was the pullback. This is a profit-taking area. So you really want to be monitoring for the next retracement. And support on any pullback at the moment should come in at 87.22 if we're going to continue up. So I would just start to monitor the current range here. Keep dragging it up if price keeps moving up, and then look for a pullback within the fib tool. Now, of course, we've got the pound interest rate decision on Thursday. Of course, the euro pound is going to be affected by that. So you just have to pick your battles. There's something set up nicely outside of those news events. All right, let's get into pound pair, pound dollar. It's rather range bound at the moment. It's not really being able to commit below 121. Keeps coming down and testing this low here, 120.89. Last week it did put in the lower top up here. So rather range bound. It may come back up to the top of the range up here in the short term, because it's not wanting to commit below 120.89. And I would be monitoring. Now the overall trend is down on the day chart. Just want to double check that. I'm telling the truth. Yep, lower top. Well, that's the lower top to over there. That's the lower bottom to there. All right, so there's the range last week. Really, I would be looking at the high. My bias is to sell with the trend direction from the higher time frames up here. 79% levels at 122.41, and the resistance level 122.71 is a day chart resistance where we failed at last week. All right. Another area to watch as well as you're monitoring price action. There are 3 tops here that we false broke last week. So depending on what price does and how the FOMC does its thing this week, this could be an area where we simply come back up to. Because last week we moved up to fill this imbalance through this area here. Now that's been filled, it actually created a new imbalance down here. So we could be coming up to fill that imbalance. So it's worth watching. That imbalance kind of started there. And it's been still remaining there at the moment. All right. So we may be coming up to fill all that imbalance before then trading down. Now, if you're wanting to book the trend, we're at the high of the day at the moment, so it's not the best place to be a buyer, but this is the range that's been formed for the day. If we do pull back, 62% levels at 121.51, 121.45 is 79% level. I'm never going to buy at the top of a move. I'd have to monitor a pullback within the range of the day if I wanted to get long. My actual bias is to be short from higher up, so I don't tend to trade these retracements back up against a trend. But if you're wanting to trade up, you look for a smaller retracement in line with that high, the retracement you're seeing in line with the higher time frame trend. So we may, pull back and then move up to the final high for the day. But I wouldn't want to be buying at the top of the day. So at the moment, I can recall a couple of levels I was talking about last Tuesday, and then those levels get hit Wednesday. All right, so sometimes when I'm doing my analysis, we're not at a level. Closest level really on the major pairs at the moment is, if we just drop back to the euro dollar, is this 106.35 level. But this area over here that we've been holding below, are we going to commit above that today, or do we start to see some failure there today? So that's close to the level. It's just above it at the moment. Same with the euro yen. All right. Pound yen, it's remaining its range-bound nature. Can't break supports. And at the top, over the last 2 weeks, can't break resistance. So the weekly chart here, you can see Excluding this week, over the last 3 weeks, 2 of those weeks have rejected up here, just short of the 184 level. All right, we have actually had a week down this week, but with the bodge news today, it is moving up. All right, so rather range bound, really, I'm going to monitor the whole range. Can it come back up to the top of the range and fail? All right, the 4-hour chart, that's the range of last week down to the fresh low this week. We're right at 79% level right now, but with it being so range bound, I would be looking at the top up here for the setup for a range trade. So assuming we can get up there, we may hang around the 79% level for a couple of 4-hour candles, and we may start to hold there. Then you can look for a setup to short on a lower time frame. But really, the range that we've been really holding to is that's a false break of this area of support. So I'll be looking at the top. Do we come up to the top of the range and hold? Could be selling at or close to the top of the range, stop at the 127, I'd trade back down. All right, we've had 2 strong weekly rejections up here. So if we get up to the top of the range or fraction short and start to hold, I have the anticipation that we maybe move back down to the bottom of the range. Okay. And on the 15-minute chart, you could be looking up here for a 15-minute failure back below 183 if that starts to present. So some of these pairs at the moment just having to monitor. It's already exceeded today's projected range, so it's very high up here, so it's not where you want to be buying. It's either where you want to start to maybe take your profits, or does the market offer a reversal? All right, Aussie yen. All right, back up to where we failed last week. So are we going to hold here or fail? So we're at weekly resistance from over here to the left. We've been failing up here or close to 1, 2, no, well, does not count this week. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4 weeks. And we really had a massive false break 5 weeks ago, but we did close above. So for 4 weeks, we've been holding up here at this area to the left, 95.85. So we're at the top of the range. The range at the moment is predominantly from that high to that low. So I'm going to draw my fib across. All right, so if you want to be really aggressive, you could be selling right now, stop at 127R, or you'll wait for a lower time frame reversal to occur. All right. With the Bank of Japan's statement today, we may need a day at least of the market absorbing that. So, waiting today to finish to see what kind of, back to the day chart, to see what kind of day we get today. Because if we close above there today, you don't want to be short. Whereas if we trade above there today, but then close back below, that would be then the first signal that, okay, maybe the market's absorbed that information today, and now the market's false breaking the top of the range, and then can we structure a trade to trade down from? All right, so it depends how aggressive you want to be up here. We can all see that it's been failing here. Is it going to fail once more? When price was I think I was doing my webinar last week about here, and I was saying, are we going to hold on support to move back up? So it's definitely holding the range. Even if we get a 4-hour negative candle to start to say, okay, we don't want to move above that top. You could be looking at the 50-minute chart for, a reversal. Last candle's negative. Current candle's negative. I mean, if you want to be aggressive, you could just sell that, as I said. You could be selling right now with a stop at the top. So I get there was an example, the exact same trade worked last week. So there was the top of the range last week. All right. That's where you put your stop. All right, so last week there was a sell, there was a stop, and bottom of the range was the target. So if you sold there last week, it would have worked out fine. That would have given you approximately a risk reward of 1 to just less than 1 to 4 from trading from the high to low. And down here, you could have been buying on support at the bottom of the range. Stop here. Targeting here. All right, so trading the range there over the last week has worked twice. Is it going to work the third time? Nobody knows. You don't know until you take the trade, but it offers you great risk reward. It's offered great risk reward twice. You could have made, if you're risking 1, you could have made almost 4 down here and then almost 4 back up here. All right, so that you would have been at least up 1 up. If you're risking 1%, you would have been up 7% trading the range from top to bottom and bottom back up to top. Is it going to work again? All right, so you can monitor that. Aussie dollar. I click on the Aussie dollar. There we go. Rather range bound. I don't know if it is holding to these weekly lows over here. I'd be more inclined at the moment to think we might get back above up to these highs, be like rather range bound like we're seeing on the Aussie yen, or a fraction short at the moment. So depends how we did break down below a little bit last week. Depends how much of a patience game you want to play. You could be looking to trade the top of the range. Really, the range is from that, got a bit of a false break at the top and bottom. So the range is much more like there. All right, now you could be trading the 79% of that range. We start to fail to trade down, or you play the patience game and look to see if we can come up to 63.92 up to 6,400. So can we come up to there to trade then down? All right, now I can see here that maybe, whilst I'm talking about the 79% level from this low to high, which is that range that's been holding there, we have this range of last week. So that's where we false broke the top, false broke the bottom. There's a 79% point there with just fraction underneath. And this little small range here, there's a 79% that we've missed probably by a pip. All right, so we're just, as I'm talking, current 15-minute candles selling down from that area up there. So this is, this offers great risk reward. If you can get in very close into that area, so it's 63.71 to 74, stop above the high, targeting down at least the 127 extension. That's a risk reward of about 4. All right, so I'll be fading up here to trade down. On the 50-minute chart, you could be looking for maybe a tight trend line break, or you just make a decision to sell, stop above the high. New Zealand yen. Not my favorite at the moment. It's rather range bound. It's just coming up to this level of resistance. So we have this range that I've drawn in. Supports here, but resistance up here. But we have moved back below the weekly chart, this area over here. It's actually a monthly high, I believe. I just want to double check. It's a monthly high area here. There's 2 highs there together. So the market's been struggling to hold itself above that area. We're coming back up to it's 88.16. All right, so nice candle going up. We're probably candles, that's probably the candle high of the day or close to at the moment for this trading day, because I'm sure, exceeded the range for the day. Question will be, I think, over the next couple of days is what does it do at 88.16? Because if it starts to hold then the reality is we probably had, just drawing the major swings. Down to there. We could maybe just come up to 88.16 before further declining. So I'll just be watching 88.16. We've got the unemployment figures coming out from New Zealand tomorrow. So after tomorrow, where do we sit in relation to 88.16? Does it start to fail there? If we finish above 88.16 today, and then tomorrow you might be looking at 88.16 to be support intraday. But at the moment, if we get dropped down to the 15-minute chart, we've more than done the range for the day today. So, you know, if you are more of a bias to the upside, you don't want to be buying at the top of the day. All right. So if we could still move further up today, but the likelihood is, even if we move further up today, we could then retrace within the range of today. So if we get a further move up today, and we get a nice move well beyond 88.16, then tomorrow you could look at 88.16 to be a support level tomorrow. All right, so just its positioning at the moment. First question is, what does it do at 88.16? Now you could watch 88.16 today for failure. You start to see the other yen pairs failing. What's that Aussie yen doing? It's just holding at its level. What's the Euro yen doing? Euro yen still, it's not really, you know, it's not back below 159.91 yet. So I'm not seeing really a reversal on the cards yet. But if, you know, if you're going to trade a yen pair reversal today, you want to see the group of yen pairs reversing. All right, and we're not seeing that just yet. All right, New Zealand dollar. Now last week I said watch 58.70. So once we break below 58.70, watch for it to be resistance. We've got this double top pattern running out at the moment. So the target for that hasn't been met yet. So as long as the market's holding below 58.70, there's every chance the pattern's going to run out. And target for the pattern's down there at 56.92. So over the next half a day, we've got the employment figures from New Zealand tomorrow. What happens at 58.70? We could come up to 58.70 or 58.58 today. These two broken levels of support, do they become resistance to trade down to today or tomorrow? All right. Just want to drop it down to the 15-minute chart and have a look at that area. So we've been a fraction short already. I mean, you may just simply see a trend line break through the course of the day, signaling a reversal from up here. So hi to you. All right, so watching up there, that's my area that I'm watching over the next half a day for this pair. 58.58 up to 58.70. As well, 58.59-ish is last month's low. Although we'll be into a new month tomorrow. All right, dollar Canadian has traded above the monthly top, but holding there at the moment. So, I mean, it could be forming a double top up here. Oh, of course, we've got the FMC statement coming out Thursday, so maybe it's unlikely to commit above there before Thursday. Weekly trend has been up. This weekly high here, I mean, we're at very high levels, but if you're looking for a long, 137.85 is the level we moved above last week. So this week, can we hold above there on a pullback or hold at it? All right, so that's the level really that if the buyers are in control of this market, wanting to push it beyond 138.61, because at the moment what you're going to find is sellers are going to be positioned up here because this is a key sell level. We moved above this level last week, so the buyers were able to move above there. The sellers moved themselves up to here. Are the buyers now wanting to further buy at this level on a pullback to then push this above the seller's level? All right, so if you're wanting to get long, 137.85 is the level to watch for a pullback to. And for our chart's a little bit messy, so I'm not seeing anything there that we could draw a fib across that would help. Where, 137.85 is support, 138.61 is major resistance. So you could be trading either end of that range, looking for an opportunity to buy up from 137.85 or looking for an opportunity to sell down from 138.61. And you could be monitoring that, of course, on the 15-minute chart. Now, at the moment, you can see, if I draw a fib across that range, we're pretty much almost in the middle, which isn't ideal. You can see on a 15-minute chart yesterday how we started to want to hold here at the monthly high. So do we come down now to the support level and want to hold to trade back up and retest that level? So we may have already failed up here yesterday, and really you're watching what can go on down here at 137.85 if we can get down there. All right, so that would be the level I'll be watching at the moment. It's going to flip back to the daily. If we pull back to 137.85 and start to hold, can you see an opportunity set up to trade up? All right, dollar franc. Looks like it's bottomed down here at 89.01. I think at that area of support, we're putting in a higher bottom here now. So we could be, whilst we got a little bit short of the 79% level of the monthly range, all right, we could be, back to my weekly chart, we could be putting the next leg in up here on the weekly chart this way, at least targeting this high up here. So just want to check my levels. Just want to know where that line is coming from. That must be a day chart line. This high over here. Right now, from a tops and bottom scenario, we're actually still in the downtrend on the daily, but it just hasn't changed trend since we started to have this corrective move back up now, putting in this higher bottom on the weekly. We have a higher top. This is probably going to be a higher bottom here. So on the daily, we've had 2, 4, 8, 7 positive candles, not including today. That would be nice for this to now pull down to put in a higher bottom. And that can certainly pull down that amount when we get the FOMC statement this week. We'll just have to wait and see what happens. So if I wanted to trade that pair, I'll look for a higher bottom to form on the daily chart. So I'm going to need a 1 or 2 day pullback, something like that on that pair, okay? All right, getting to dollar yen. Did get above 150 last week. We're above it again this week, but couldn't hold above it last week. I've just been monitoring this range today chart here. That collapsed down last week on the day chart. We actually went to a lower bottom. Now we're moving back up because of the bodge statement today. And the question will be, is it going to take out last week's high, or is it going to form a lower top? I'm sure the bodge doesn't like this above 150. So the current candle that's forming has, from closing up here, has stepped down to 150.15 and got support ahead of 150 at the moment. So support is coming in at 150 or fractionally above. I think, like my commentary on all the other yen pairs at the moment, we've done more than today's range, because that's the low of today. There's a projected high. So there's no point trying to get long if you want to get long the dollar yen, because you're at the high of the day. You need to watch for a pullback. And I'm, personally not that enthralled about trying to get long above 150 because we keep getting intervention above 150. So I think the key thing to watch back to the day chart is, do we hold and not take out that high this week over the next 24 hours? Maybe tomorrow we get a small trading day, small spinning top day. Or on the 4-hour chart, we start to hold at the 79% retracement level, 150.34. And, over the next 24 hours, we want to start to move maybe back below this high that we false broke. So some of these pairs at the moment, just a waiting game, especially on these yen pairs with the bodge decision today. And it could be the same commentary for most of the week as you're waiting for the FMC statement come out. Once that comes out, does the market offer you an opportunity or does it just go ballistic? All right, so all the yen pairs today are overstretched. It's just as to whether they're going to start to show you a reversal or not. All right, let's have a look at gold. I just want to see what that Aussie yen's doing. All right, just trading a couple of pips. Just trade 1 pip, I think, above last week's high. Euro yen, it's pretty much at the top of the day still at the moment. All right, back to gold. All right, I just want to go to the 4-hour chart because often when I'm doing the webinars, price was here on Thursday. And, I don't buy at the top of a move. And I said watch the pull back into the 62.79% area on gold last Thursday. And then lo and behold, he pulled in to trade up. All right, so trading's a patience game. All right, so weekly chart on gold. So let's go to the monthly chart because we do have this triple top up here. We have a massive outside reversal month to the upside. So potentially we could be maybe forming a major higher bottom here for a long-term move above this area. That's one philosophy. Or with this triple top, that's the first move down from the triple top, and we're simply coming up maybe to the 79% level, or we're coming up to a revisit and create a quadruple top to hold. All right, that's one side of the fence. The other side of the fence is we're forming a higher bottom here, and we're going to have another very positive month up, and we're going to blow through those tops. Now, of course, this has been moving up on the geopolitical equation in Israel at the moment. Weekly trends turn to up. But it's definitely worth knowing where that 79% fib level's at. That's at 2021, so just a little bit above the 20 level. But today testing the 20 level, the 2000 level, I should say. So 2021 is the 79% level. Today we've been testing the 2000 level. So the high of today is actually, well, I'm telling a lie, it's 1999 because I was on the weekly chart and I was talking about that level. So this week we've more than tested the 2000 level. Today we're just trading at that level. So, over the next couple of days, do we start to hold at 2000s? This is a very strong trend, so you're going to need to see a shift, at least on the 4-hour chart trend, to warrant trying to book this move that we've been seeing moving up. And the 4-hour trend at the moment, I draw a fib in from the last bottom up on that impulsive move. It's getting support just ahead of the 62 at the moment. And I would once more, like I said on Thursday, watch the 62 to 79% area for the buyers. Market's been buying the dips, but we go up, we dip. Then we got a bit missing here, but there's a dip. Then we're going to move up. Are we now going to be just dipping into here? into that support area that the old resistance area we've moved above to move up. Now we may not be able to get down there because you can see the current 4-hour candle is positive and moving up, but you never know. If you're patient and you watch that area, price may dip down. We have some news coming out later from the US, so that in itself could gyrate the market enough to get down into that dip area. All right, so can't really read my levels at the moment. So I've got those 62 levels around about 1989. 79% level is around about 1983. All right, so that's the dip area for the buyers at the moment. We just move back to the day charts. You know, if you're on the sell side, if you think this is way too overextended, 2021 up here, 79% fib. All right, would be a very good level to watch, depending on what the rest of the week brings. Or, you know, going to be moving into a new month tomorrow. So, you know, we could have a month up this month, trade into the 79% level in November, and then totally reverse down for the month. So this is the reversal area to watch if we're going to get a reversal. This weekly high here that we moved above last week is the area to watch on the 4-hour fib retracement. So that's sitting in between my 62.79% area at 1987. All right, so you want to look at the Nasdaq 100? It's going to look very similar, I'm sure, to the S&P 500. All right. Let me just tidy my fib off there. So on the weekly chart perspective, we've been creating a lot of tops and bottoms. We're getting into the profit phase, like I was saying on the S&P 500. We've hit the 127 extension. All right, so that was the weekly range. That's the weekly high to low. So what we're seeing here, and this could be exactly the same deal for the S&P 500, but very similar looking. These are the major moves. We're in the profit taking phase here. So we could actually maybe need, if this closes above this low here, which is 14,417. If that doesn't hold, to then trade down. If we get above there, we're probably going to have the next rally within the larger ranges. All right, so I'm always cautious once we've hit the 127 extension. I'm always very cautious about then trying to trade. Trying to trade this scenario where price comes back up to resistance to trade down, because ranges are, if I look at the ranges here, I'm going to clear everything off. All we're going to see is get rid of that fib. All right, we had a move down here. Then we rallied. Then we moved down. So that move down was slightly shorter than the previous one. That one, we're kind of fractionally below that length. So in actual fact, that third wave down, third movement down is probably it's fractionally short of that one. It's slightly longer than that one. So as you can see before, once we get into these kind of ranges down, we then get the cycle back up. So it's a much more higher probability. So that was that range up. Similar range up, fractionally shorter. So I would anticipate maybe we're going to be doing that. But it's all as to whether we come up here and hold and can trade down. Now, the news from the FOMC is going to be underlying factor of what happens with the stock market this week, but you're saying that you're seeing some divergence. What indicator are you using for that? Using MACD? Well, what indicator are you using, Azu? You're using MACD. On the day chart, I'm not seeing any divergence because this is still separated. That's lower to there. That's lower to there. So I'm not seeing any there. Are you talking about divergence to trade back up? There was divergence here, but that's more than a while ago. So that divergence signal there is more than, finished by now because we've gone down, rally, down, rally, down. So I'm not sure what time frame you're seeing your divergence on. Not seeing any divergence on the weekly chart. Daily, I'm not seeing divergence on the daily other than the fact that what happened here, but that's ages ago. So that's not going to give us any clue now. That divergence that was setting up maybe here was the clue that was starting to top out here. It's not telling us anything that what's happening over here at the moment. And not seeing any divergence on the 4-hour chart. So at the moment, trend is down. I would much favor, I think, that we could get this kind of retracement back up. In the short term, it's as to whether that level there, what's my resistance level there? 1437, which is this area over here. Does that now clearly hold as resistance on a test? It held there yesterday, so we'll have to wait and see. From a probability perspective, it would be safer right now with this being overextended to look for a rally up here and then the next leg to start down. All right. You're saying the Dow 30 is more clear. What with the divergence? On the day chart, there's not, well, I mean, if we're looking for divergence right now, we should be looking in this area here because up here, there wasn't any divergence because that top was higher than this area here. There's no divergence there on the weekly. I'm not seeing a divergence signal in this area here. What I am seeing is that most of these stock markets are maybe getting into the bottom phase of their weekly moves at the moment. There's a bit of an area, and if I just draw the fib in from this little area down to that low, rallying back up, see one small there. So we've had kind of a move down. I'll do it with my other tool. The weekly swings are this way. We've moved down, rallied. We've moved down, rallied. And now, that's another stock market that's very close to 127 extension. So it's the same story in the S&P 500, the Nasdaq, and the Dow there. So, in my mind, we will probably go like so. And really, you're looking at drawing the fib from the weekly runs. If we're going to still continue down long term, looking for this to come up here somewhere and then move back down. All right, that's my viewpoint. you want to send me a chart about your divergence, send me a chart if you like, but I'm not seeing any divergence there that's really going to affect what's happened. Any divergence really, on the Nasdaq happened up here. All right. All right. Any final questions? So it's going to be quite a difficult week, I'm sure, this week. If you're dodging, well, I'm going to be dodging the news. I'm not going to be just getting into a position in front of a major news announcement this week. And if we get a major move one way or the other because of a major news announcement, then you're going to have to maybe wait a day or two for the market to subside. If it's getting close to a level that you're watching for a failure at. So might just quickly flick back to these yen pairs to see what's going on. That dollar yen's still moving up, so I wouldn't want to be getting in the face of any of these yen pairs at the moment. That's still moving up strongly. Current 50-minute candle is just flying. So Aussie yen, it's trying to break above Euro yen. Looks like it's breaking above 159.91. Having said that, last week I thought maybe we're moving above this top last week, but then sold down. So could well be that we're getting maybe a breakout on these yen pairs. We'll have to wait and see how the day finishes. Pound yen's still not yet tested the highs, the 2 weekly highs here that we've had strong rejections from. So very difficult. Just, you can see where price is moving right now. It's very difficult just to buy at the top of a move, especially when you're coming into these highs here. All right, if you're going to buy this today, you should be buying 2 4-hour candles back at least. Why buy it on the 2 4 on the 5th 4-hour candle up? All right, if we're going long on these yen pairs now, if we get a major breakout, we're going long on these yen pairs. You want to let it break out, wait for the pullback. All right, so we're either going to see a breakout and then wait for the pullback, or we're going to see a failure over the next 24 hours, next 12 hours, 24 hours, at some of these levels that have been respected over the last month. All right, so these are the levels that have been respected in October for the pound yen. Just touched last week's high as I'm talking. So as I'm talking, you see they just tickled it. So I think though, whilst that dollar yen's still flying north, it's going to be very difficult. Although 2 weeks ago, I was talking about the dollar yen moving up or moving up to a retracement area. And as soon as I finished the webinar, I looked at the chart and it dropped like 100 pips or 150 pips instantly because the bodge came in. So, we're coming up to the high of the move at the moment on the day chart. I'm sure the bodge is watching up here, watching what kind of reaction the market's had from its statement today. So it was a less than hawkish statement, I think, today. They were talking about maybe they could start to look at maybe increasing interest rates on their 10-year bonds, I think was the conversation, but like maybe look rather than we are looking. So the markets obviously thought that was very dovish in terms of the yen, weakening the yen, and obviously we're moving up. So we'll have to wait and see whether we get, if we get an intervention action today, then all the other yen pairs, which are just slightly above their resistance level at the moment, will be back below. So we'll just have to wait and see what comes around. All right, so it's a cautious approach at the start of the week as we got these major news announcements coming out. Big ones for the week. Let's go back before we finish off. Early Thursday morning, we've got the FOMC statement. We've got the UK interest rate decision, 10 p.m. These are my time, Queensland time, on Thursday. And we've got the US job figures coming in there on Friday. All right. So lots of big items coming out this week that are going to affect the market. And it doesn't matter to me if I don't trade this week. We're just heading into the new month of November. You want to be looking for your setup, and if you can't see your setup, you're just waiting. All right. All right, so I'll leave you with that little bit of advice. Other than that, tomorrow for me, coming up, I'm going to be reviewing the price action for last month, what patterns we're setting up, and then I've got more analysis on Friday, so on Thursday, sorry, 8 p.m. So all my webinars are at 8 p.m. Sydney time. If you want to join me tomorrow, just come over to the webinar page, register your interest, and we'll review last month. What can you learn from last month to carry forward into the new month in terms of what price action has been doing in terms of creating patterns, okay? All right, that's all for me tonight. Thanks for the questions coming in. And just watch those news items for the week and look forward to seeing you next time.